Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. In 221 BC, King Yingzheng of Qin officially accomplished the great feat of unifying the Huaxia civilization. At first glance, with the six states subdued, it seemed that Yingzheng could now rest and enjoy the fruits of his victory. However, the truth was quite the opposite. His mission had only just begun. After completing this unprecedented unification, the Qin Empire's territory reached an unparalleled expanse. And merely calling himself king was no longer sufficient to reflect Yingzheng's achievements. Therefore, he held a grand Fengshan ceremony, donning a black robe and ascending Mount Tai to offer sacrifices to heaven. He also had the Heshabi jade carved into the Imperial seal of transmission. At the same time, he took one character from each of the titles, 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors, to create the title of emperor, marking the official birth of the Huaxia Empire. From then on, Yingzheng ruled the land as Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of Qin. Yet, despite the establishment of the imperial title, Qin Shi Huang faced a significant challenge: how to effectively govern such a vast territory. Initially, he planned to follow the feudal system of the Shang and Zhou dynasties, dividing the land among relatives and meritorious officials. However, Prime Minister Li Si strongly advised against it, saying, the feudal system of the Zhou dynasty barely lasted 5 generations before familial ties weakened. How can your majesty repeat this mistake? Clearly, the feudal system was no longer suitable, and Qin Shi Huang needed to design a completely new administrative system for his newborn empire. Thus, Qin Shi Huang and Li Si established the commandery and county system, dividing the nation into 36 commanderies, each subdivided into several counties, all managed by officials appointed by the central government. This structure ensured that power flowed from the center down to the local level, greatly improving the administrative efficiency of the empire. In addition, the court implemented the 3 lords and 9 ministers system to oversee various affairs of the commanderies, ensuring that all the vast lands under heaven belonged to the emperor. It seemed that Qin Shi Huang could now finally rest easy. However, new problems soon arose. It is said that after implementing these systems, Qin Shi Huang eagerly prepared to tour the country, eager to see the empire he had personally built. But when his carriage left Qin's original territory, it could no longer proceed. What was the issue? It turned out that during the period of the warring states, the roads built by the different states varied in width, and the axle standards of their carriages differed. Even the distance between the ruts left by wheels was not uniform. Qin had its own standard for carriages, allowing them to travel smoothly within its borders. But when they entered the territories of the former 6 states, the wheels would get stuck in different ruts, making it impossible to move. And that wasn't the only trouble. Even if they somehow managed to continue, once Qin Shi Huang's entourage entered the old lands of other states, they found that the local languages, writing systems, and currencies were entirely different from those of Qin. The people of Qin couldn't read the scripts of the former 6 states, didn't understand the local languages, and the money in their pockets was unusable. Qin Shi Huang was infuriated by this. He had painstakingly unified the country, yet it had become a prison from which he couldn't even leave. In response, Qin Shi Huang and Li Si conducted extensive research and introduced a series of reforms, unifying measurements, writing, language, currency, laws, and road standards. This standardized system greatly enhanced the empire's cohesion and operational efficiency, finally allowing Qin Shi Huang to smoothly travel afar and inspect his vast territories. Some historians have commented that Qin Shi Huang's reforms in standardizing weights and measures have had an impact no less significant than his grand achievement of unifying the 6 states. By standardizing the writing system, currency, legal codes, and measurements, Yingzheng laid a solid foundation for the empire's economic development. However, this was not enough. To truly consolidate his rule and promote economic growth, he had to address a long-standing external threat to the Huaxia civilization, the Xiongnu. At that time, the agrarian economy south of the Yellow River was already well established. But the situation in the north was quite different. The nomadic Xiongnu, though not large in population, posed a persistent threat to Qin's borders with their exceptional horsemanship and swift movements, often coming south to graze their horses. This not only made it difficult for the Qin Empire to recover and thrive but also created a major obstacle to its economic development. To resolve this issue, Qin Shi Huang dispatched General Meng Tian, leading an army of 300,000 northward to fight the Xiongnu. However, despite the formidable strength of Meng Tian's forces, the campaign was not smooth. The problem did not lie in the combat effectiveness of the Qin army. Later generations have praised them as a fierce army of tigers and wolves, a reputation they truly deserved. However, the 300,000 Qin troops faced the Xiongnu cavalry, who were highly mobile and moved like the wind. The Qin army primarily relied on chariots in battle, which had proven highly effective during the wars against the Six States since all were in the Bronze Age, and chariots were the most powerful combat tool at the time. But against the Xiongnu, the speed of the chariots could not keep up with the Xiongnu cavalry. This war was not a direct confrontation but a mobile skirmish with nomads, greatly diminishing the Qin army's advantages. Moreover, the Xiongnu employed a strategy of fight if you can, flee if you cannot, demonstrating great flexibility. In contrast, the Qin army, though large in numbers, faced a tremendous challenge in logistics. The daily consumption of supplies for the 300,000 troops was enormous. And the newly established Qin dynasty lacked the capability to sustain such a large frontline force for a long period. This not only led to a stalemate in the battle but also added immense economic pressure on the rear. Faced with this situation, Qin Shi Huang and his advisors were not without solutions. The threat from the Xiongnu had existed for a long time, and during the period of the divided Six States, each state had built walls along its northern borders to defend against them. Qin Shi Huang decided to build upon this, connecting the old walls of the various states to form a continuous defensive line stretching from west to east. Eventually, a Great Wall, extending from Lintao in the west to the Yalu River in the east was constructed, allowing the Qin army to defend in sections along the wall, curbing the Xiongnu's incursions to the south. On the surface, the completion of the Great Wall seemed to resolve the Xiongnu threat. But the reality was far more complex. The construction of such a wall was fraught with challenges. Even though the army of 300,000 appeared large, when spread across the various defense points along the vast length of the Great Wall, the number of soldiers at each station was actually quite small. Moreover, the long-term stationing of these troops presented an even bigger problem: supply logistics. In ancient times, transportation was extremely inconvenient, especially when it came to the delivery of supplies. It was costly, time-consuming, and labor-intensive. Those familiar with the history of the Three Kingdoms may know that the renowned strategist Zhuge Liang, during his 7 expeditions to Mount Qi, repeatedly failed due to issues with supply logistics. How much more challenging must it have been for the Qin dynasty, which was even farther back in time? The transportation conditions then were far inferior to later periods, and providing long-term supplies to soldiers stationed at the frontier became a massive challenge. During the reign of Qin Shi Huang, there were no high-speed railways, airplanes, or other modern transportation methods. To quickly transport provisions, the only solution was to build a highway. To address the difficulties of supply transportation, in 212 BC, Qin Shi Huang mobilized hundreds of thousands of laborers to begin the construction of a straight highway, approximately 1,500 li, about 750 kilometers, long, known as the famous Straight Road of Qin. Today, building a 1,500-li road with modern machinery is not particularly difficult. But more than 2,000 years ago, it was a massive undertaking requiring enormous amounts of labor and resources. The sheer scale of this construction was so vast that the labor of hundreds of thousands of workers alone is not enough to fully describe its monumental challenges. Even so, Qin Shi Huang did not live to see the completion of the Straight Road. Later, Zhao Gao took advantage of the unfinished road to transport the emperor's body quickly back to Xiongnu, which became the famous secret burial incident in history. Although construction on the Straight Road continued after Qin Shi Huang's death, it was still not fully completed by the time Qin heir Shi ordered the execution of General Meng Tian. As for the exact date of its completion, historical records are silent. But what is certain is that the Straight Road was used by multiple dynasties over the next 2,000 years, serving an important function until the Qing dynasty. The most astonishing fact is that although the Straight Road was merely a dirt road, over 2,000 years later, not a single weed had grown on it. It is well known that weeds are incredibly resilient, especially on dirt roads. So the absence of any weeds seemed an impossible phenomenon. Modern scientists have studied this and provided a reasonable explanation. First of all, Qin Shi Huang had extremely strict engineering standards for the construction of the Straight Road. He demanded that the road be flat and wide enough to accommodate 4 rows of horse-drawn carriages traveling side by side, with no uneven terrain across the entire 1,500-li stretch. Even today, ensuring such a standard over a long-distance road with mechanical construction is no easy task. To accomplish this feat over 2,000 years ago using only manpower and primitive tools is almost unimaginable. According to historical records, the Qin dynasty imposed extremely strict requirements on engineering quality. Taking the manufacturing of weapons for the Qin army as an example. Each weapon had the name of the craftsman engraved on it. If any quality issues arose, the consequences ranged from execution of the craftsman to the extermination of their entire family, even implicating those around them. The same high standards were applied to the construction of the Qin Straight Road. Under such intense pressure, the craftsman dared not be careless. Although the costs were immense, the quality of the work was assured. Another mystery lies in how the road managed to resist rain and prevent grass growth. As a dirt road, it would logically become muddy after rain and grow grass over time. However, the Qin Straight Road defied these expectations. Researchers believe that the Qin people likely used special techniques during construction. It is speculated that the Qin discovered that if they fired the water-mixed soil, it would become extremely hard, preventing it from turning into mud when it rained and stopping grass seeds from sprouting. Thus, it is possible that hundreds of thousands of laborers first fired the soil of the 1,500-li road, making it solid, and then compacted it to effectively solve the issue of resisting rain and preventing grass growth. Using this method, even if the surface became slightly muddy after rain, the road remained functional. Additionally, the Qin may have mixed lime and alkaline salts into the roadbed. This would ensure that grass seeds in the soil were completely destroyed during the firing process. And even if the wind later carried new seeds onto the road, they would not germinate due to the lime and alkaline salts. This is not mere speculation. Modern archaeological and chemical tests have confirmed that the surface of the Qin Straight Road was indeed specially treated. Through these findings, we are not only amazed by the advanced wisdom of ancient technology but also deeply saddened by the hardships and sacrifices of the hundreds of thousands of laborers. Imagine, more than 2,000 years ago, hundreds of thousands of laborers relying on human power to compact and fire the soil, creating such a grand-scale project. Even in today's technologically advanced era, recreating a dirt road as solid as the Qin Straight Road would be no easy task. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.